Thank you. Good evening. I want to thank Mr. Anand and Murali for reaching me out last month, and then they wanted me to have a small presentation about the packaging industry. We're going to be talking about the packaging purpose and functions, followed by type of packaging. I brought some samples so that you get an idea that how this industry is divided into different segments. Then the materials is very important because today in some type of packaging, the cost of raw material itself is about 65%, 66%. So that is going to be an influencing factor in terms of the company's profit and so forth. Then the type of printing. The packaging printing is quite different than the commercial printing. So it's got a different technology, different process, heavy investment. We'll see some of the videos that will give you some idea that how to print this down. Each of those videos will be about 2 minutes or 3 minutes. Then we will talk about the supply chain, which is how the brands take this idea and then taking all the way down to bring the product to the shelf, that which we see on the Then there will be a small slide about the global size, market size, and the Indian packaging companies. Then we will walk you through some fundamental metrics of Indian companies, as I said, about 13 companies. There is no stock recommendations, but there are some, you can see from the numbers, there are maybe 2 or 3 potential stock lists. So the takeaway for us, one is that, hope that our group will get an overview of the Indian packaging industry. Then we look at some of the listed companies. There are a lot of unlisted companies also, but today's discussion is going to be purely on the listed companies, the top performers and their numbers. Then take a long-term call. The underlining word is long-term, whether to go into the segment or not. Then, of course, taking some good insights and ideas from the group. Our group is a very well-informed group. Yeah, this is like, if you look at the packaging, we will divide that into 3 primary categories: primary packaging, secondary, and tertiary, followed by ancillary, which is nothing but caps and everything. Example is that the primary packaging is defined by any package that is holding the product within itself. In this case, the toothpaste is put it inside, so that is a primary packaging. Maybe in a Coca-Cola bottle, the bottle is a primary packaging because the Coca-Cola is inside it. Then this particular package is going to be packed into the secondary package for transportation, for convenience, for display into the shelf and so forth. This is going to go into the tertiary packaging, which is also known as the shipper contents, which you are familiar with the block contents. So this slide is going to give you a little bit of a breakdown. I'm going to be sharing this slide with you so that you can get the right knowledge. The purpose and functions. So it's very easy, the primary function is the preservation of quality and quantity. Food, if it's a food, obviously without a package, it's going to break up or it's going to fall down. Then the quantity is important. If you're going to buy, let's say, gold coins in the package, then it is going to be a quantity that's very critical and important. Then it's also lengthening the shelf life. Give you an example. This cross section is a breakup of one of the largest companies in India worldwide. Is called Tetra Pak. We're all familiar with Tetra Pak. Yeah, buttermilk, which normally has a shelf life, if you make it and then keep it, is going to be maybe 2 days or 3 days. But putting it into a Tetra Pak, it can go up to 30 days to 45 days. Amul, for example, they are selling Masti, which is in Tetra Pak, which is definitely because of the technology that Tetra Pak. So this is something like, one of the main purpose for the particular, product. Then another important thing is that we are seeing influencing the consumer preferences without any attractive labels or a package. The attention span for any average consumer in a supermarket is about 6 to 9 seconds. So every brand is competing that, if you go into a potato chip site, there are 20 different varieties. So that becomes that, this branding and brand communication is another important functions of a package. Then finally is the compliance part of it. This is a nutritional fact table. This is not NFT. This is the FDA standard, Food and Drug Administration in US. India, we have a food safety and standards authority of India, which is emerging, which is utilizing many of the standards of global thing and applying to India on that. So that very recently Maggi noodles, I think 2 years back, Nestle, they had a misrepresentation in the label. They didn't meet to the compliance. Then it became a big issue. Then sales drop down, thereby the profit and so forth. So packaging is legal perspective, it is a legal document. Branding perspective is a communication package. For other purposes, it is for shelf life as well as for the quantity and quality. Transportation and visual art. Give an idea of a visual appeal. Look at this particular Desert Fusion brand name. It's a US brand actually, it's one of our customers. This is nothing but a botanical sea and earth product, nothing but a chemical compound. But since they made it very nice and designed, it uses the visual appeal and impact. We see all kinds of shapes and sizes in packaging. Give you an example, the bottles with the label. So you're looking at a different material right now. Glass is a material. Then there is a tin, which is like a metal can, which has got a branding on top of it. Then folding carton, which is again, which is sold as a single pack as well as multiple packs which is inside. We are familiar with the labels in our distillery bottle, which is a label. Flexible, which is a very key thing that you should eventually see more business coming out of the particular segment. So we are seeing more and more flexibles like chips and cakes and everything is packed in a flexible bags. Shrink film, very interestingly, if you look at that, the difference between that and the same material, but more larger area is used around that. It's a wrapper around a container. So that gives more space for the brand managers to put more content and more visual images on top of it. Then the POS and POP stands for point of sale and point of purchase. We are very familiar at any counters, you can see it with the shelf ready package here. Just give you an idea of the volume and the impact of what is the nature of packaging industry. I just taken one UK retailer called Tesco. They are also coming to India. They have a warehouse in India, but more for managing their front environment. But Tesco is also have a joint venture with Tata's. They eventually will come down to India with the food retailing. So look at the size of Tesco. If you go to UK, go to London for example, and then look at a large Tesco store. An average store will carry about 38,000 individual product, which is huge. Which is, we're looking at, SKU stands for stock keeping unit or SKUs or each barcode of the level product. Out of which nearly 17,000 are private label. Private label definition is equivalent to a store brand. It's a Tesco's own brand. So a good example is that if you're going to buy a tissue paper, would you buy from Unilever or you buy from Tesco? Like that. Now in India, the private label business, we are foreseeing a good growth for two reasons. One is that the bigger retail chains are coming in, DMart and Reliance Fresh. Even Amazon and Walmart, all these guys are coming with their own brands, competing with the global brands like Unilever and Fox. So we would see a growth for a packaging perspective, for industry perspective. The companies that we are targeting, the 13 companies, as well as other unlisted companies, their business will grow not only from the brand side, also from the private label segment. Going to Indian side, give an example of the visual appeal. See India's largest brewery. We did a lot of work with these guys. Diageo, quite well. Give you a size of the business for the packaging segment. Next. The United Spirits or Diageo ships about 120 million cases of liquor every year. So one case is 12 bottles. So that is roughly translating to 1,440 million bottles. Each bottle will have a front label, a top label, and also a secondary carton. So that's a huge potential. So for example, Huhtamaki, one of those packaging company, then on top of it, and Uflex, they do work for United Spirits. Or now which is Diageo. So that's to give you an idea that the real volume size of this industry. Moving to another category in ITC, which started very small in FMCG. Now they've grown really big. They have everything, right from biscuits to chocolates to coffee, and then they're growing really well because Indian consumption is likely to grow. Rural reach is much higher, and all these guys are coming and upgrading it to a different type of packaging and moving into a different grocery. It's not only limited to the grocery industry, even the non-grocery industry segment. Yeah, this is like just give an idea that all the global brands are really wanting to come to India. chocolate, or scotch, or clothing, eyewear. So everybody knows that it's a potential market. When they are coming and launching their brand, that means that they are going to go after a packaging company to give the business for printing and manufacturing packaging. So translating that into a number, the global packaging market size is estimated to be about $771 billion, which is growing at 6% year on year. Out of which, nearly 1/4 of the business comes from the flexible packaging, the pouches and the film which we are talking about with some of the companies that we are looking at is growing in that particular space very well. Yeah, this is an interesting numbers. We have taken the top 12 global packaging company. Look at the size, about $21 billion employing 55,000 people. They are all over 24 countries. There are like large corporations in 100 countries. Everybody is a minimum 10 to 15 countries and more. The ones highlighted in yellow are big global companies with a presence in India. Stora Enso has got a unit in Chennai. Then Amcor has got 7 factories all across India. Then Huhtamaki has got about 7 or 8 units. They've been acquiring companies and then they're also growing. Sonoco is a company that we have actually a joint venture partnership, not on the printing side, on the packaging graphics side. Small, but I know that they are also interested in acquiring some packaging. So when you're looking at it, going at the growing market, this global printers definitely in the coming years will definitely venture into India, or will go for an acquisition, or will go for listing, whatever. The market is expanding in this segment. Again, on the Indian packaging market size, if you look at that, it's in the 2015 is about $20 billion or 140 crores, which has grown at an average compounded growth of about 13%. Still, we are only about 4% of the global size. So there is a more depth is there and also wider. Moving forward, this number can even go 6-7%. That can also grow. At least we are looking at a double digit. It's going to be greater than the GDP average what we've been experiencing for the last 10 years. What are the reasons? The primary drivers, they are giving retail growth is increasing because of the increased consumption. Then also there is a demand from the food and beverage industry. They are getting more sophisticated. Like Achi Masala, for example, 10 years back, if you look at the packaging, and today it is more sophisticated, more graphic oriented. Even Kadalai Buttai also, now they are coming up with Raja Kadalai, they're into a very nice flexible package. So they are spending and investing. The brands are spending in packaging. So a lot of regional brands will eventually translate into a packaging business for the printers. Pharma market, they have to live on for thing because of the blister pack, because of the compliance requirement. Then the growing paint and lubricant industry. And then there is also a change in lifestyle. People like to really have different packages coming into their shelf because that itself is an attractive position. What are the challenges? One of the challenges we are seeing is the ban in plastic packaging, which is every government is imposing. Interestingly, the ban is on thickness of less than 50 microns, much smaller, thin films, and if that is used as a one-time item, like a carry bag in Sangeeta, those kind of thing. But the same film, the companies that we are looking at are using the same film to produce package like a label. So we are not really seeing a major issue because of that. It could be one segment of business they could lose, but other segments they will catch up with. Then there is also a rise in raw material because the plastics is primarily used in containers and labels and flexibles. That is made out of polyethylene and polypropylene and PET material, which is again dependent on commodity plastics, which is again dependent on oil price. So that is another, challenges. Yeah, this is giving you an idea about the type of material what we are seeing. So you see that, this is a bigger circle growing at above average level. Primarily the flexible packaging and the rigid. Rigid is nothing but a container. So a container like that, what you're seeing, container. Pretty good. Yeah. So that's a container. There's a plastic container. That's a rigid plastic again. That's for ice cream. Yeah, something like it is some chocolate or something. You can circulate it. So followed by corrugated boxes, which is the shipper carton, which we saw. Then the consumer board is nothing but a paper board, like your folding cartons and things like that. Folding carton, I think I have some examples of. This is a folding carton. This is typically what you're seeing. This is a paper board. This is some of the work that we did for a client in UK. Tesco, in fact, they are our Tesco product. So these paper boards are made by paper mills, coated, sent to the packaging company for printing, and then eventually the brand takes it for packaging. So I have some samples. We can all take a look at it anytime. So this gives you an idea that the fastest growing segment is the flexible packaging and the rigid plastic. So what are the materials in the plastics? So they are basically poly-PET, which is polythene terephthalate, and then the polypropylenes, and primarily polyethylene. Look at that. These are the sizes, which is very thin all the way up to different microns, primarily used for different applications. So these are the things which is banned. The textile bags. Biscuit overwrap, which comes from the factory, it is not bad. But if somebody is in the retail environment using a small wrapper and then packing it, then it is going to be bad. But again, when the production perspective, nothing is going to bother because without plastics, it's not going to be packaged. This is where it all starts with. So the brand guys designed. This is taken from a company called X Laboratory, which is actually an associate. So they have a very famous product called Zincovit. So how it starts with the brand manager will decide what is it that he's going to communicate. He's going to communicate that it is very fruity, it's very healthy and all this stuff. Then the legal guys will come and say that these are the legal composition they have to have. Then they will roll it out to a different variant. You're familiar with that. Ice creams, for example, with one artwork, they'll roll it out to different strawberry, different flavors. Potato chips will have a cheddar, it will have all those kinds of stuff. So, very critical thing is that what are the key components in an artwork, just for an academic interest. What is known as a primary descriptor, legally you have to have what is the main product, which is the new organic milk. Example. Secondary descriptor is a milk, it could be, they will say that chocolate milk, for example. Then it is legal to put a nutritional fact table, putting their composition, calcium, salt, or whatever that government requires. Then comes a weight statement. You have to have a weight statement. It's not there in the particular picture, but weight statement is very, very legal. You can't mislead the consumer. Then ingredient statement is a very interesting thing. India is now following the global standards. Ingredient statement goes like this. Let's say there's got one chocolate milk. The largest component of the milk should be the first one, which is the milk. The next small will be sugar. Third one will be a chocolate flavor. Fourth one will be a preservative. So the statement has a very legal way to say that the maximum percentage should be the first and so forth. Then comes the barcode and QR code for billing purpose. Then the color, the bar. The pre-press or pre-printing services, this is exactly what we do in our couple of companies that we founded and we are running with. Primarily, the brand uses the design and then we take it out for laying out the artwork, then taking for a print for a proofing, making sure that before it goes for plate making and printing, 100% the brand approves it and it matches with the brand's requirement. So we looked at now the pre-press part of it. Now let's go into the critical part, which is the printing. This is a very interesting mix. Nearly 41% of today worldwide, including India, the print process is called flexographic print process. Other followed by lithography, or they also call as an offset. Third one is called gravure, which ITC in Chennai, they have a huge factory here. They're also the manufacturers of the gravure cylinders for their own in-house requirements. Followed by digital, which is in a very upcoming open market. So flexography, I know there's a small video of just 2 minutes, where you just run through it.
Digital printing has grown in recent years because of improvements in print quality, the capability to print on many different substrates, and the use of environmentally responsible water-based inks. The printing process begins with the artwork, which is optimized for flexo printing. The next step in the process is to manufacture a flexible printing plate. This process involves exposing a photopolymer plate to UV light which will build up the image areas. When completed, the image to be printed will be raised above the base level of the plate. Each color to be used in the art will have its own plate and will be mounted to its own plate cylinder on the press. The Flexo printing press is composed of a number of stations, which corresponds to how many colors can be printed. Label technology can print up to 10 colors in one pass. In each station of the press, there are 3 rolls: the analox roll, the plate cylinder, and the impression cylinder. The analox roll has a surface made up of tiny cells which carry the ink from a reservoir and place it on the printing plate. The plate cylinder is the roll which the photopolymer plate is mounted to. And finally, the impression roll is what supports the substrate as the ink is transferred from the plate cylinder and impression cylinder to transfer the image. This system of cylinders transfers the ink in each station. The ink dries as the material web moves through each and post-run drawdowns to ensure color standards are approved and then reproducible. For production efficiency, the web width will be maximized through the printing process before going to a secondary process to slit the web to the width required for the type of packaging equipment utilized. One of the more interesting facets of Flexo printing is the ability to reverse print artwork. A mirror image is printed.
This is made of polyethylene or polypropylene, whatever the substrate. So now the important role here is this color bar and then there is the nutrition fact table. So they run your, I've been to many factories in the US, for example, even here, they run something like 200, 300 meters per minute. It goes really fast, up to 10 colors. So it becomes so sophisticated and it becomes so precision with technology. It's not, it's complicated, but it is like, it's very doable. So the Flexo plate, what we saw, I think I have some sample here. Nothing but a polymer where the real artwork image is engraved in it through this particular process. First image is transferred on the plate, then it is get exposed. It means that it is raised, then it is cut in. Then that becomes as a cylinder. Each color is one plate. So if it's an image has 6 colors, then it is a 6 color cylinder. 6 plates will be made into 6 cylinders, then put into the press. So everything has to run at a very same speed, completely synchronized, so that there is no overlapping of images or there is no misregistration. That's what this technology in the next slide, I think, will have. Yeah. We saw that, you're talking about ink is uplifted by one cylinder, then there is a blade which throws away the excess ink on the second cylinder, which is called analog cylinder. Then the plate cylinder is where the ink gets transferred. In between the substrate. Substrate is a reference they use for a color material, which is a film or a paper or a board, whatever. This is very interesting. There's a company called SL Propack. These guys are a monopoly in our country. They make tons of tubes. Every day we see personal care product, healthcare product, and everything. So it's again a polymer. They make a film through an extrusion process, laminate it, make a coating on top of it, slit into smaller strips, make a decorations, then they make a tube out of it, then do a shouldering and capping and printing as a final tube. So all these things is the core of printing called Flexo Tab. And there are very few companies, Utamaki is one, Uflex is another company, and then we will see a list of companies which is into Flexo Tab manufacturing. The next print process is a lithography, which is nothing but a regular offset. Primarily the folding cartons are printed in it. I think we have a video on that too. See this, I was telling you, if you remember printing press, we always think that ink scattered all over, guys with bunion and running here and there, but it's very sophisticated. Today the factories are air conditioned, humidity controlled. Inks comes from a common kitchen with a complete automatic flow. So it's not a messy process, it's come through a very controlled, with the control panels. Complete automation is happening. I will see to even here, factories, some of them using heavy robotics for moving material, feeding material, for cutting and bundling it up. One of the examples, what we see from that particular press is, paper board with multiple colors and so forth. It's an Indian product, Indica, our product. This is a craft paper, again printed through offset process and used for a cement carrying 20 kgs. That means that, look at the strength of the paper. There will be 2 layers in it, and then this is, which is eco-friendly as well. Now, many cement companies use a woven sacks. Now they are moving slowly into a craft paper.
So it is tear resistance, this paper?
Yes. Tear resistance, and then it is waterproof because there is a layer, polythene layer will be at the back side. There will be a barrier coating will be inside. Like how you see in a flexo potato chips bag, there will be multiple layers. The front will be a polythene, then an aluminum layer will be there. So that the inside food smell will not go to the outside. Similarly, the cylinder will not get contact with moisture or water. This is another print process which is called gravure, which is actually a little. India is very strong in this particular segment because the cylinder manufacturing is an engineering process, and we are so good in engineering. So lathing, machining, polishing, engraving kind of work. So ITC is one of the biggest players in the gravure. I'll tell you another reason why the gravure was very popular in India is that for the last 20 years, the brands will never change the variant. Crane Supari is one example. How it was 10 years back is still there. Cigarette packs is another thing. They don't change it. But now the consumer trend and preferences are changing. They want new products very frequently. The brands are launching every new product in 6 months to 12 months time frame. Which this process will not be suitable because it's very expensive to make the cylinders, and then it is normally built for a long run. ITC, when they make a cigarette pack, when they run it, it will be a 1-year program for printing. One machine will be dedicated for 1 year. But that does not happen in flexible packaging, which is flexography, which is very, very flexible, very quick setup. The photopolymer is very easy. We have customers that when we send a design artwork by evening, the same day within 2 hours the plates are made. Next day morning the press run is on. So that is so flexible, so dynamic. I think we have a small video on that. This is a plate making process.
Using the RS6003, Bobst's best-selling rotogravure printing press. Reaching a top speed of 600 meters per minute and printing width of up to 1500 millimeters. It is the top solution for medium runs and multi-purpose printing applications. The 6003 press is operator-friendly and packed with innovations and on-demand enhancements, such as the full on-board washing system, the new enclosures drawing away the solvent-heavy air, the great twin trolley technology for fast and flexible job changeovers, the quick and effortless sleeve change system, and the extraordinary. The 6003 also introduces Bobst's innovative twin flow drying system, gently blowing air onto both sides of the web to reduce the skin barrier effect and maximize solvent evaporation. The dual drying system creates minimized turbulence for optimum web handling and less energy consumption, making this the most efficient drying solution on the market. Further improve flexibility and reduce preparation times. With attention to detail and integrated technologies, all phases of preparation are geared to facilitate operations and reduce waste and downtimes in full safety. TAPS is Bobst's pre-register system. One touch of a button to completely and automatically register the machine with minimum startup waste and in minimum time. The integrated registron provides unbeatable register accuracy even at high acceleration and on difficult substrates. Superior printing quality is a Bobst trademark. With decades of experience and a constant drive for innovation, Bobst is renowned for superior class web handling, allowing you to boost your productivity with quality products. All of this with minimum waste and maximum efficiencies throughout all phases of production. The Bobst 6003 printing press.
And then it's running at about 500 meters per minute with a width of 1500 mm, which is nearly about 5 feet. That means that each strip of label, 4 inches label or a 6 inches label, there are 10 or 20 can go here. So there's like a huge, companies like ITC, I think they have also. Not the latest, not the same versions, but a little earlier versions. So it's a plate making, that like how the plates are made. For a gravure, the cylinder is important, where images are engraved. Then it is developed, then it's made, and some closer look about that, how the cylinder is. It's a stainless steel with a carbon coating in it, and each cylinder can have a life of about 6 years, 5 years. So that is one of the reasons that the gravure cylinder industry in India is slowing down. Cost and then the consumer preferences are completely changing and get changes. Just a new baby in the market was the digital printing. HP bought technology from an Israel company. They built it up. It's nothing but a huge, humongous office printer kind of a thing. There is no plate required. Right from your laptop, you can run the machine. But the limitations here, it cannot really produce all the 100% colors that is required by the brand. But for the color, there is a huge technology called Pantone colors, which is where the brands use them mostly. So here, you're talking about a little bit slower machine speed, and it's very expensive to use. So they are using it for wine labels. I think there is a small slide on that.
Meet the HP Indigo WS6800 digital press, the leading narrow web printing solution for high-volume labels and packaging production. Enjoy the gravure-matching print quality and sophisticated color capabilities embraced by the world's leading brands. The enhanced productivity mode increases color speed to a record 40 meters per minute for most color jobs. An inline spectrophotometer using a fully automated closed-loop color management that eliminates manual color calibrations and adjustments. In addition, the press offers more efficient imposition with its larger 320mm image format, which fits more labels per frame. The Indigo WS6800 allows you to print on any type of substrate, ranging from 12 to 450 microns, including off-the-shelf materials, using its inline priming solution. HP Indigo's one-shot color technology performs accurate, repeatable printing. All color separations are transferred to the substrate in a single pass, resulting in perfect color-to-color registration. Open new business opportunities with a variety of special inks on the press, including silver and a high-slip white ink for sleeves. Benefit from the HP Indigo workflow ecosystem, including the built-in high-automation workflow suite powered by ESCO, and an array of integrated MIS, pre-press, and converting solutions from partners. The HP Indigo WS6800 digital press, the leading narrow web printing solution for high-volume labels and packaging production.
Replacing some of those quick prints. Somebody wants 20,000 labels, 50,000 labels, those kind of a thing. India, there are only very few installations, maybe maximum 20, 25 installations. But this is, every bigger printers are beginning to invest into it because the brands are, like if we saw that Coca-Cola names, they have a variable name because it's like a printer. So they have Sam, they have John, they have Smith. They introduced in Europe very common names, and then they use this particular HP machines to put the label for Coca-Cola, give a personalized, content. Yeah, this is like I'll just ask. I can run it through, or you want to?
No, please. If you want, I can do this.
So we have what we did. We had taken about 12 companies, which is key players listed in Indian stock markets. We talked about where their head office is located, number of employees. Also big guys, 7,000 people, 3,000, and with the promoters holding ranging from 40% all the way up to 75%. With some of them have pledged, their stocks. So this is the ecosystem that we are looking at from the investor's perspective, whether we're going to take a call on this or not. Looking at the revenue metrics, I have highlighted the 6. Anybody above 1,000 crores is, we thought the risk mitigation is better. And if you're looking at the top guys, we're looking at their PAT and the EPS. With the last 9 months of sales with the EPS, it ranges from 2 rupees all the way down to 71 rupees in some cases. Further, deeper research is required. Valuation, as he said, that P is not the best indicator. We all know that. Still, I have highlighted it. Zindal Polyfilm has got about 76, multiples. At the same time, the book value is much lower than their thing. Market cap is also, lower than their next. This is that how leveraged they are with respect to total debt. Huhtamaki is something that we did a little bit study on that. They have a 405 crores because they acquired an Indian company, and then they raised debt to fund that process. Some from internal approval, some from external, which they got it from the parent company, which is soon to be out due for retirement or repayment. Probably they'll extend it. I don't know what is our relationship. This is actually one of the 12 lists what we saw from the global list. Huhtamaki is from Finland. Here we are talking about performance. See, one of the things that we were talking with Mr. Murali and Kannan, I remember during our discussion. Obviously, we want companies that is making good profits. Either it is EBITDA, in this case, profit before interest and depreciation, margins. Anything single digit is a little tricky. This is the current year. We don't know the last 4 years, or we have to look at that. One of the reasons what I could see is that it's a competitive market. A. Two, if you do more work with the bigger brands, they have a tendency to negotiate a tougher price. So the pricing comfort is a little bit lesser. One. Number two is that they depend, if it's a flexible printing, like the guys like Huhtamaki, SL ProPack and Uflex, the raw material cost is a little bit variable. The average is about 60%, 65%. But still, it's worth looking at some of them for a very simple reason of the earning growth potential in coming years. So what I did, remember, analysts have a tendency to mix two different categories within the packaging segment as consumer packaging sector. I have split into two categories. Guys who are making, the companies that are making only the films. Remember, they are not printing, they are not converting a film into a folding carton or a paper into a folding carton or into a package, a flexible package. But they are only a film manufacturing. Polyplex, Zindal, Uflex I split into two because one segment of the business comes out of the 6,789 crores. Nearly 2,838 comes from the film manufacturing. Cosmo, Carvare and Control. Carvare has a small component which they are also selling for construction window automobile segment, but predominantly they are suppliers of multiple film products, whether it is a VOPP or a VOPET or CPP or whatever the polypropylene. The key thing is here, if you look at that on the packaging segment, we have said that flexible guys with the packaging activities in crores. 100% SL is the lamitube, which is a flexible packaging. They do 100% out of this. Uflex, nearly about 50% is coming out of this flexible packaging. Huhtamaki, 100%. High-tech company is all 100, Moldtech, MB and TCPL. Engineering activities, Uflex has it, I combined that with here. So the final analysis is that, the film business and flexible packaging is definitely growing, but it is slightly dependent on the polymer pricing, which is the subject to oil price. And then both these factors, the raw material cost, and then the segmentation, that affects their operating margin, thereby the PAT. And there are a lot of unlisted companies. For example, Manipal, they have a huge facility. Orca, ITC themselves, we excluded that. Pragati and Parksons, they have good acquisition targets for global packaging companies because the bigger guys with huge money power, definitely their entry is to acquire some of them and then move on with businesses. And Tetra Pak is not listed, ITZ is not listed, Amcor is not listed, and some of the paper mills we excluded from the study. That's it. Thank you. And any questions?
Is the market share, maximum market share?
Market share, if you look at that, I could say these guys are the leaders. In terms of sales, in terms of volume, they are into everything. They are into all the bigger brands. They're very aggressive in pricing. They're very aggressive. So, I don't know if we had to do more studies in it. I would recommend, not a recommendation again, I would think that these guys' margins are much better. Lamitube, their monopoly, but their valuation is also very high. Then Huhtamaki is a very clean management because of the parentage, a Finnish company, global presence. So they are cleaning the business, but their margins are low because of the debt and the interest serving which they have to do. So when the interest component is expired or maybe the debt is serviced, there is an upside or uptick is a possibility. Down here, I think Cosmo film is being spread all across European markets as well as Asian market. And honestly, I have not done deeper studies into it. Mr. Kannan can add some value to it. Only can chip in. So the recommendation perspective, maybe this is something where we should take it as a base point and then try to analyze a little bit more and maybe take it to the next step.
Who would be the premium players in this? As I said, SL is laminate and then only one. Any other specific
On the list.
who can allocate your pricing?
See, that's a very interesting question. In fact, this is one of the things. The guys who are going after private labels than the bigger brands. If you go to Unilever Bombay and sit there, he will give you a business of 200 crores easily for one category product. But he will give you a margin of maybe 11% per. But same thing, private label guy like Walmart and Amazon and all the new guys are coming in DMart. Probably your margins can be even 3-4% much higher than that. So we need to figure it out who's really going after the private label. Then also regional brands like Achi Masalas and Mysore sandal soaps are probably, some of the regional players who are in the 4 states nearby, 5 states nearby. Definitely, if the plant is located, which Kutamaki has got about 7-8 spread across the country. So they have a better advantage. Because that quality, because the transportation is expensive. If you print it from Bhatti and bring it down to Pondicherry or Chennai, it's more expensive because they're all weight. Individual package is very thin, but when you print it in big volume and put it in Chennai and send it out. So the regional presence, pan-India presence, with regional brand as a customer, private label potential, definitely their margins.
And how about the GST part of these companies? Because food is a zero GST in some of the food products.
It has got GST. Yeah, and some of the guys are doing export. We didn't even talk about it. Utamaki is 25% this business comes from export. Uflex exporting it. All these guys are looking at an export market to nearby countries. There are 27, 28 countries. Same Unilever is operating in Thailand to Middle East, Sudan to Madagascar. Same Procter & Gamble is there. So when they go after smaller markets, it's far easy to negotiate with a larger printer, ship it to those respective markets. So export potential is there.
Time Technoplast is also exists.
Which one?
Time Technoplast.
Time technology.
Listed or they listed?
Yeah, they are listed, but this is not the consumer brand. No? They store the oil. No?
Okay. Yes.
It's a blue color.
Yeah. So that's something like these guys. Little bit of this Moltec packaging has this.
They are market leaders
In that particular space.
So how about the people who have been spending on all these items? Like for example, when we take Tropicana, they are charging 20 rupees per tetra pack. The same content, like 200 ml of pepper boat is costing almost 10 rupees more than that actually.
Well, not because of packaging, the price goes up. It is their clever branding and ability to get a better
Because
price.
the only difference I see is pepper boat is like using this Utamaki
Flexible packaging.
Yeah.
But remember, they don't have any competition, paper boat guys. But whereas Tropicana has 20 different guys, even ITCs into where regional brands are there. Dabur is there. So the consumer packaging side, especially FMCG segment, the price is purely a driver from the retail sale point of view. Packaging cost wise, probably paperboard guys will probably buy it at cheaper prices. We don't know. But packaging cost is not going to be a major component to a sale product. It will hardly take about, depending upon, I can guess in the case of Tetra Pak, it will be as high as 4% to 5%. Thank you very much. Thank you.